Good afternoon everyone. Today Group 5 is proud to present our final revised project for the Health, Safety and Environment course. Our study focused on a comprehensive occupational safety and health risk assessment, specifically conduct on the fourth floor of Building B at President University. As industrial engineering students, our goal is to apply systematic methodologies to ensure that our academic environment is not only conducive to learning but also compliant with the highest safety standard. Before we dive into the technicalities, allow me to introduce the team behind this research. We are from Group A from MIE Class 2, consisting of Hamzah Solidin Yusuf, M. Khayat Kaldir Sadin, Muhammad Afan Rasidin, Muhammad Darel Ishaq, and Muhammad Almin Lutfi. Together, we have spent the last few months observing, auditing, and analyzing the daily operational of our campus to build this report. Let's look at the scope of our project. We target the fourth floor of Building B, a high traffic area for engineering students. Our observation period span from January to April 2026, capturing the nuances of daily academic life. Our mission followed a three-step logical progression. The first is identify. We went beyond the obvious to map unseen hazards, those environmental, health, and safety risks that exist in routine activities. The two is assess. Identification isn't enough. We need to quantify by calculating risk values. We could distinguish between a minor inconvenience and a critical threat. The third is complete and control. Finally, we align our finding with Indonesian law, specifically UU Nomor 1 over 1970. This allowed us to expose operational gaps and design a structural control plan to neutralize the risk. Next is framework and assessment methodologies. This is the engine room of our project. We didn't just guess risk, we used a four-stage systematic framework. Step 1 is hazard identification. This involves a physical walkthrough of the fourth floor, mapping out every corner from classroom to restroom. Step 2 is quantitative risk assessment. We use H4 risk matrix. Risk value is the product of likelihood and severity. This scores every hazard on a 4-point scale, categorizing them from low to very high. Step 3 is prioritizing. Since resources are limited, we apply the Pareto analysis, the 80/20 rule. By calculating cumulative percentage, we identify the top 20% of hazards that cause 80% of the risk, allowing the focused intervention. Step 4 is hierarchy of control. Our solutions aren't just band-aids. We follow the OHH hierarchy, prioritizing elimination and substitution over just providing PPA. This ensures we tackle the root cause. Section 1 is environmental hazard. Our first major section focuses on environmental hazard. In an era of sustainability, we must look at how our building interaction with the planet and its resources.
Okay, here is our data for environmental risk. You will notice codes like E.2 and E.4 at the top. For example, E.2 cleaning frequency was given a likelihood of 4 and severity of 2, resulting in a risk value of medium high. We found that excessive water and chemical use are significant risks during similarity E.4 and E.7. Highlight electricity waste from elevator and waste accumulation from lecture. We track certain distinct environmental hazard, calculating their cumulative risk value to prepare for our Pareto analysis. Notice that isolates vampire power draw E.10 and dust suspension E.3 have lower rating, allowing us to deprioritize them in favor of more urgent research depletion issues. Okay, next. Pareto. This Pareto curve visualizes the data from the previous table. The red line represent the cumulative percent following the 80/20 rules, we can see that the first few hazard, specifically E.2, E.4, E.7, E.8, and E.9, contribute to nearly 90% of our environmental footprint. By focusing our budget and efforts on this high water and high electricity use area, we get the almost bang for our buck in terms of sustainability. Okay, next. Now, how we do fix this? We apply the hierarchy of control. For high water use E.2, we suggest substitution, biodegradable detergent, and engineering control. High efficiency spray nozzles for electricity E.4, we recommend an administrative control use steer campaigns combined with engineering upgrade to LED lighting. Highlight here is E.7 waste accumulation. Our proposal is to eliminate the risk by transitioning to 100% digital course material and e-exam, effectively removing paper waste from the equation entirely. Okay, next. This is our roadmap for execution. We have broken this down by timeline, research, and responsibility short-term fix 1 until 2 weeks. Like procuring green detergent, E.2 are assigned to the procurement and janitorial supervisor. Midterm goals 1 until 3 months, such as auditing plumbing. E.8 involve the maintenance teams. We have even included evaluation metric. For instance, we will weigh solid waste output weekly to see if our zero waste policy is actually working. The end goal is simple: eliminate toxic runoff and minimize resource depletion by July 2026. Okay, next.
Next, continuing to the section 2, health hazards. Moving on to the next slides. So this is our health hazard table. So our health hazard table identifies 13 risks. Topping off the list are H1, touching shared handrails, and H4, elevator buttons, both scoring a risk value of 8. In a post-pandemic world, viral and bacterial transmission via high-touch surfaces, like both of them, remains a medium-high threat. And then another critical finding is A6, prolonged sitting in non-adjustable chairs, which can lead to musculoskeletal disorders like lordosis and kyphosis. We also assess hidden health risks like CO2 buildup in crowded rooms, H7, and the aerosolized toilet plume, H8, which can both of them can lead to respiratory infections or respiratory problems. And then moving on to our next slides, we have our Pareto for health hazards right here. So the Pareto chart for health hazards shows a more gradual curve indicating that health risks are widely distributed. However, the top 6 hazards, H1 to H8, which you can see in the previous slides or the previous table, account for over 60% of the total health risk. This tells us that if we tackle surface hygiene, ergonomics, and air quality, we have addressed the majority of the health threats on the 4th floor of the building B. And then moving on to the next slides, we have our health control table right here. So also some of our solutions for the previously mentioned hazards. So the first one, for the handrails, we suggest engineering controls like antimicrobial coatings for the handrails, or even UVC-like disinfection modules to be used by janitors to clean the handrails. And then for the chair issue, H6, we move towards substitution by replacing old chairs with ergonomic seating. And then for the administrative controls, for example, we can implement a mandatory stretch big intervals to prevent too long sitting. And then to combat CO2 buildup, the H7 hazards, we recommend demand controlled ventilation, which uses sensors to pump in fresh air only when needed. We also address the toilet plume, H8, with a simple yet effective administrative control, signage instructing users to close lid before flushing. For the other type of health control, You can see it right here in our slides. Okay, for now, Health Action Plan. Our implementation timeline for health is aggressive. By May 5, 2026. We expect to have antimicrobial coatings and sanitizer station, the code H.1 active. The HR and HSE department will be responsible for the ergonomic chair pace in the code H.6. We will evaluate success through hygiene swab testing on rails and musculoskeletal survey for students. Notice the code H.10 at the bottom, addressing loud alarm sounds with visual strobe alarms. This is a long-term goal for October 2026, ensuring we also protect the psychological health of those with sensitive hearing. And the next, Section 3, Safety Hazard. Finally, we move to Section 3, Safety Hazard. There are the risk of immediate physical trauma, slips, trips, falls, and electrical shocks. And the next, Safety Hazard Table. Safety was our largest category with 17 hazards. The highest risk value, 9, we are found in the code S.1, S.3, and S.17, all related to glossy, wet, or slippery tiles. This is a major concern for the fourth floor. We also identified high severity risks like the code S.8 or overload power strip and the code S.12 or frayed cables which carry an electrical fire or shock risk. Severity 4. Perhaps most critical is the code S4, the low railing height. While the likelihood is low, 1, the severity of fall from the fourth floor is catastrophic, 4. This makes it a medium-low but high-priority structural fix. And the next, the safety Pareto show this dead slip and trips. The code S1, S3, and S17. And classroom clutter, the code S.7 are our vital few. These are the hazards we must eliminate first to prevent the most common campus injuries. And the next, safety control table. Our safety control are robust. To fix the slip hazard, the code S.1, we suggest substitution or replacing glossy tiles or engineering abrasive anti-slip nosing. For the railing, the code S.4, we propose a critical engineering fix. First, installing structural glass or steel extension to reach a safe height of 1,100 mm. To handle electrical risk, the code S.8, we move from power strip to permanent well outlets. We also include PPA solution for staff, such as Kevlar gloves for janitors handling trash bag that may contain hidden sharp object, and the code S.15.
Safety action plan. Our safety action plan prioritizes quick win anti-slip, netting, and wet floor. SIG will be deployed by early May 2026. More complex issues like the elevator door sensor update S.6, the automatic reset device S.5, the power fault are slated for October 2026. They recruit specialized contractor will be measure success to fitting testing, electrical load audit, and even dummy test the elevator sensor to ensure they detect limb property. Next, assignment summary. To conclude, our assignment successfully mapped 43 routine hazards. We have identified the most critical are for intervention, are slip or fall risk, viral transmission factor, and result was taken by moving from passive observation to active control, we are bridging the gap between our current campus operation and Indonesia OSA legal standard. Our plan is pace short term, fix the starting now with major structural update following by the end of the year. This ensure a safer, healthier and cleaner environment for every student at Presiden University. Next, the conclude our presentation. We behave their step will significantly improve the safety profile of building B. Thank you for attention. Group 5 signing out.